Hey everyone, how's it going? Good morning, I guess. Late morning. If you're out there, feel free to say hi. I'd love to know who's watching today. Hey Jamie. It's kind of a weird morning because my internet wasn't working this morning and I wasn't sure if I was able to do this today. I was going to do it with my phone. Hi Lynn. Yay, I'm so glad that you were able to get on today. Glad you're here. We'll just wait a couple more minutes. Yeah, and then our power went out also. So I just wasn't sure if this was going to happen today, but I'm glad you all are here and the technology seems to be working. So looks like it's all going to be good. Oh, wow. I'm glad you're able to watch on your phone. Hi, Jason. I invited my cousin in Michigan. Oh, how fun. I hope your cousin is able to join along today. Yeah, Jamie, hooray for you for being so committed. We just got our internet back on like 30 minutes ago. I'll just wait a little bit longer and see if any more people are going to come on. Let's see, it's 11 right now. Well, I'll just start talking and we'll see who is able to join along today. So today we're going to do something that's based on the Cubist painters. So Cubism was a movement in art that started in the early 1900s, and the whole purpose of it was to examine objects, people, things, and depict them from different angles. I'm going to put a link in here to the Wikipedia definition of Cubism. So it's considered one of the most influential art movements of the 20th century. Pablo Picasso and George Braque, Juan Metzinger, and others pioneered this movement. And if you go and you look at that page, and I have another image here that I'll share. I think this is a still life from George Braque. Hey, Sarah, yay. You can see by these images that I've shared that there's a real deconstruction of objects. There's not as much reliance on color here. More value is important, darks and lights. So we're going to focus on that today, but we're also going to add some color because color is always really fun. And we're just using this as a jumping off point today. last Monday we were having a lot of fun, just being really expressive and intuitive, and we'll still work intuitively today, but we will use this idea of fragmentation and deconstruction for our compositions. And I am also going to include this link to an image of Pablo Picasso's Guernica mural, so you get a sense of how large it is in real life. But you see this superimposition of faces, characters. It's very expressive. It was intended to be, and was a very powerful artwork at the time when it came out, and it still is. And I just want to call attention to Dora Maar, who was Pablo Picasso's girlfriend at the time he made that painting. She documented the whole process of him making the painting. But also I want to share this self-portrait that she made, because she was a photographer and she superimposed her images in these ways. And I think personally, I don't think I've seen this said anywhere, but I think that at this time when photographers were doing this kind of overlapping of imagery, I think that also influenced this notion of cubism and deconstructing and overlapping and looking at different angles of something. I just want to throw that out there because I think it's fun to think about how photography influenced painting. Hey, Roberta. Glad you could make it. So I just shared some links there to different Cubist artworks. And again, these are just visual inspiration. I tried my own little piece today really quick before I got on here, just to see how the process could work, because I do something similar to this in my abstract art class, but we're going to take it a little bit in a different direction than what I usually do. So we'll start today with some drawing tools. I'm going to work with charcoal to start with. And other materials you might want to use today, you might want to use markers, and of course your acrylic paints, pencil. But if you want to just keep this as a drawing today, that's fine. We'll just see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually work from a couple of objects that I have in front of me here. I've got a table filled with stuff here. I just want to point out this piece is all based on this bottle. That's the only thing I was looking at when I did it. So I'm going to choose to do, I think, again, this bottle, but I also am going to use an organic thing. So I'm going to also add this tomato start here plant. So I'm going to use this as an organic thing. So I'm going to kind of juxtapose organic and this more manufactured item. So what you want to do, first of all, to just kind of warm up and get into it, is just do, again, another contour drawing of whatever objects you're working on. So I'm going to start with my tomato plant, and I'm just holding it right in front of me. And I'm not going to try to do any distortion right now. I'm just going to try to just do like pretty much what I'm looking at. Okay, I just did like a real simple drawing of that. And now what you might do is, I'm going to also do my bottle a little bit here. So I'm just going to put this somewhere on my page. So what you can do next is you could spin your paper around, um, but also just take certain shapes and repeat them. So I really like this shape here. So I'm going to repeat that here. And you can overlap your images. So something that the cubists would do is repeat these shapes, but then also start to connect them with lines that would maybe tie some of these shapes together. And it could be really random. It doesn't have to be anything super calculated, but you can just start to draw connections between some of these shapes. You could just draw a part of one of the shapes. Hey, Alana, we're doing cubist type things, drawings, paintings. So you can use this as a base now to paint on. I'm going to switch this around a little bit so I can see it in a different perspective. So what I want you to practice next, rather than just going ahead and filling in the colors or whatever, try to do some gradations with value. And by value, I mean darks and lights. So let's say I'm going to choose this shape right here because it's a nice, this here, it's a nice prominent shape. And I'm going to start kind of dark in the corner, and then I'm going to go a little bit lighter. And I'm going to smudge this with my finger because I can smudge it really easily here. You see how that gradation adds a really interesting variation now to the drawing. So I'm going to try that in a couple of places. And I'm just sticking with my black charcoal. If you want to be moving into some kind of color, you can. But I just really like what that does. And you can draw over things or paint over things or erase things also. Kind of liking that smudgy thing today. If you're not working with charcoal, if you're working with a marker or with a pencil, you could also try, if you're working with a pencil especially, you could try cross-hatching to get a darker value. So I'm never really that disciplined, but I'm actually going to scribble because I'm a scribbler. But you can scribble in different directions, overlapping your scribbles, and that's going to give you a darker value. Colored pencils would be great for this. If you have colored pencils and you just want to be working with dry media today, that would be really good to work with. Another technique you can do is called stipling. So I will demonstrate that with a marker. Wish I had a black one. Oh, here we go. Good. So with this, it's just a series of dots. And the closer your dots are together, the darker your value is going to be. That can also add a really cool texture to your drawing, a visual texture to your drawing. Yay, Charlotte, I'm so glad you're able to log in. Excellent. So just use your drawing tools for some of these variations in value. This is called a kneaded eraser, and it's basically this like gray gummy thing. And generally with this, you can smudge or erase your charcoal lines. So I'm going to just erase a couple lines here. But you can also use it as a drawing tool. So if you grab some of your charcoal, you can make marks with that too. This is the reason why people hate charcoal, but also why people love charcoal. Because it's really, it smudges, it's very blendable, it's messy. But it's probably a little bit closer to painting in that sense. So that's what I like about it. But of course, you know, you get dirty hands. So I'm just actually gonna smudge some of these lines now. If there's an area you don't like in the future, you can paint that out if you're gonna switch to paint, which I'm gonna do in a second here. But I kind of like just this nice gray base this is providing for me right now. Just gonna smudge it all like that. Okay. Let me get my marker out again. So not sure where all of you are at. I'm going to turn this again. Okay, interesting. kind of cathedral-y or stained glass window-y, totally. I know, it has this like luminosity to it, and it's just black and white, which is really interesting. I mean, quite honestly, if you just wanted to develop this as a drawing and not use any paint, I think there's so much potential here with just this technique of doing a gradation from dark to light within these shapes. Another tool you could try using is chalk pastels, soft pastels. I'm going to grab mine. Because I'm curious what is going to happen if I use these on top of this now. So I will use a green. Let's see. What do I want to do here? Wondering if I start dark green on one corner of a shape, what that does. Pretty interesting. This is an interesting effect too. I am using a paper that's rather smooth. There's not a huge tooth to it. For whatever, it might be responding differently. If you're working on canvas, you might have a different effect than what I'm having. I'm kind of getting into just this whole thing. So these little touches of color really stand out because the base of this is this neutral black and white. So when you have a lot of black and white or even browns, grays, when you just add a little bit of color, it really stands out in contrast. So that's a good color theory thing to think about in the future. I think I've said it before, but you really need these neutral colors to make your bright colors stand out. So I'm going to switch into some paint just to see what happens. I mean, quite honestly, I kind of just love working with the drawing tools also. But because I have the paint out and I like to paint, I'm going to use a little paint. And we'll see what happens here. I'm going to start out with a neutral color. I'm going to mix a brown by mixing yellow, red, and a tiny bit of blue and white into it. I mean, I could just use burnt umber out of the tube, but I like to mix browns also because you can get some nice variations that way. So I have this really cool brown color. Let's see, I'm just going to go ahead and paint into one of these shapes. And I'm going to paint over, I'm painting out some things too. I grab a little bit of white and blend it into that brown in this direction now. So sometimes people like a real blended look with their paintings. And if you do, with acrylics, you want to mix primarily on your canvas or on your paper. You want to start with a wet color and then mix the other color into it with the soft bristle brush. So you might start seeing things emerging as you're going. I really like kind of this band of light here and this darker stuff coming in from the side. So I'm going to go with that a little more. Mixing another neutral color here, like a blue-gray. And while that's wet, I'm going to try to blend these two together. So try working with some neutral colors and then maybe mix up some greens, oranges, purples, colors like that. You might want to add to this. So I'm going to mix, I mixed up a green that I'm painting over this shape here. So for me, the charcoal is blending into my paint and I'm going with that. I'm just going to embrace that aspect of it. And just really enjoy the color mixing now if you're painting with colors. And remember, you can layer colors also. And I kind of like some of this white, so I might not paint on everything because I like this drawing, some of it. So we'll see. I'm going to do actually a pastel pink. So mostly white with a tiny bit of red in it. And I'm going to use that color somewhere. I'm going to use some of my phthalo green because it's a really punchy green. Some yellow and some white. I'm questioning if I want to make the leaves like green because it feels so literal, but I'm going to try it out. And if I don't like it, um, I'm gonna paint over it. Hi, Jennifer. We're doing Cubist-Inspired paintings and drawings. I don't know. I might just like the industrial shapes. Maybe paint out some of these organic shapes. You're gonna have to watch from the beginning. Yeah, because even for me, this is totally not what I normally do, and it's kind of exciting. I actually am really enjoying once you get the formula, it's kind of a fun process. So I really like all of my marker dots. So I'm just gonna do a light. I'm gonna add some water to my paint so you could still see some of those dots coming through. So you can also, once your paint dries, you could also take a marker and come back on top of something. Like turn this into a mixed media piece. Yeah, so don't be afraid to go back into it with a drawing tool, especially if the paint has dried. Uh, maybe painting over or drawing over some lines, repeating some lines, and just keep layering this process over and over. I love that blue color. Thanks, Jennifer. I think I'm going to keep my leaves here just as a drawing. Um, I like this line up here kind of breaking up this space. So So as we're nearing the end of the hour, I hope y'all are trying this and enjoying the process. And yeah, if you missed the beginning of the video, you might want to go back and look at the recording at some point to see what kind of formula we're following here. Are there any questions right now or comments before I log out? Thanks, Jennifer. I wanted to say, if you have something to Jennifer, I know you have a new Redbubble site where you're selling your designs. If you're still on, can you share the link with us for that so we can all look at it and maybe purchase something to support you? And if you still are on, but if anyone else has anything you want to share on here, please do. Oh, Joanne, I'm so glad. I find it really fun too. This is a totally new process for me. And I don't know if I love this, but I do love the process a lot. And I think this is something I'd like to maybe incorporate into some future projects. Maybe some of you are using charcoal. I know when I have people use charcoal in my classes, sometimes people really hate it because it's so messy. But maybe if you're using it today, you're finding a way to enjoy it. It's great. Really helps me in so many ways. And the new way is painting with you at home, getting into the energy and groove of my house studio. Yay, Roberta. Yes. I hope that's happening for you. Mary, thanks so much for doing these sessions. I've learned so much and having loads of fun. I'm so glad, Mary. Thank you. It's really wonderful for me to have this as an anchor. I will say, since I can't go out and teach classes, it's nice to have this time and to explore new processes. So I have a fun project in mind for Thursday. I'm calling it obsession paintings. We're going to make some obsession paintings and drawings. So what I want you to do is think about a thing and like maybe a pet you have that you really love, or there's just something you're really into, you're really obsessed with. And we're going to base a drawing and a painting around that. So if you have pictures of a cat or something you really like, or a pet, a dog, family members, grab pictures of them. Get pictures of things you love for next week. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of where we might go next week, because you all know I love cats. So this is one direction I started going with that. So think about things you love, and yes, it could be food, absolutely. anything, unicorns, flowers, anything you love. We use this as a fun way to bring some cheer into our practice. So that's Thursday. So Jennifer, type your name, Jennifer Russ, into search on Redbubble. Awesome. We will do that. All right. I'm going to just stay on here a couple more minutes. So if you have any questions about anything, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope I see you on Thursday. Hi, Ray, Rebecca. Thanks for saying hi. And also definitely share whatever you did today. Share it with me, ursulagullow@gmail.com, please. I've been posting things on my blog, which is blogspot.com/Ursula Gullow, I think, something like that. So if you want to see everyone else's paintings, feel free to go on there. And I'll post some links in the description of this video. What is that, Meta? Catch the recording. Okay, great. I can't wait to see how it turns out also. I am gonna log out here in just a minute, so probably not finished at all here, but we'll see. I mean, you can just keep going and building layers with this kind of process. I can feel myself start to get distracted. So I'm going to log out and hopefully I'll finish this and post a picture on my blog along with everyone else's. So please send me yours over the next couple days as you finish. You do drawing, Meta, pencil work. Awesome. Great. It says my connection is unstable. So I think I just got cut off a little bit. All right, I'm gonna log out. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And can't wait for Thursday. Have a really fun week. And yeah, send me your pictures. Let me see how they turned out. And talk to you later. Bye. Thanks.